Hello everybody, my name's Laurie Kirk and I'm the Business Development Manager for APMG International based in Canberra. Welcome to this Midday Mentor session where we'd like to introduce and welcome Mike Boutel. Mike's the Head of Training for PM Partners based in Sydney. Hello Mike, how are you?
Yeah, hi Laurie, good to see you again.
Great, and it is good to catch up on nearly the anniversary of when everything went quiet in the training world in COVID, isn't it? I can't believe, where did that 12 months go?
Yeah, it's been a fairly horrendous 12 months for everybody, and especially in businesses like ours that rely on people and face-to-face interaction.
So that's right.
It's been a hard time.
And today, in fact, there's a lot of on reflection. There's a lot of very good things that have come out of what this a very difficult time, as we're on the cusp of the new Chinese New Year and the year of the ox. So I don't even want to look at what the animal was for last year, but it shows determination in the year of the ox, and also ability to cope with change and solid determination. I think that's what we've seen with training companies. Today, I'd love to, one of the catalysts for today was to talk about a recent ebook. And whilst it's an ebook, I did print it out as well, because I still like sometimes, I'm one of the Luddites that I still like reading some of the hard copy. But it's titled L&D in the Remote Age, How to Work Towards Real-Time Digital Training. And it's great for people who are going to listen to the next 15 or 20 minutes. Mike and I are going to share some aspects of this particular paper. It's not a long read, it's a very good read, and I think it's got some great insights into training. So Mike, you're the head of training for PM Partners. Just as a bit of background, how did you get to where you are? You didn't get that accent in Sydney, I know. So
yeah, so obviously I'm from the UK, and I was brought up in the very south of London, a place called Portsmouth, where my Dad was based there in the Navy back in the year. But yeah, how I ended up here is just a catalyst of, or a comedy of errors really. But I typically, since I left school, I've been entrepreneurial and ran a number of different businesses. And 15 years ago, I accidentally became a Prince 2 trainer. Again, I've got no idea how that happens, but I loved it. And I worked for a number of different training organisations in the UK after I'd sold my business, and yeah, just really enjoyed teaching people and loved the classroom element and the interactions, and I could bring all my experience of business through to the classroom. Yeah. And then I started looking further afield as the recession hit in the UK, and I had previously visited Sydney, had fallen in love with the city, and just made waves to see what was going on out here. And all I could hear from various messages that Sydney was booming, Australia was booming, and Prince 2 was also booming here in Australia. So I literally came out here on a whim. Had about 6 different meetings with 6 different training organisations to see what was going on, and PM Partners kind of grabbed me and said, we're desperate for trainers, we're expanding quite fast. And I literally came out here in, I think it was May 10 years ago, and I started emigrated here in September 10 years ago. So yeah, 10 years I've been here in September.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I started teaching and training Prince 2, and also managing successful programs and some of the project management fundamentals courses. Again, really loved it, and I got to travel to Melbourne and Brisbane and Canberra and Perth, doing some training. And yeah, it was a few months after that really we started expanding quite fast, and the owners of the company at that point asked me if I'd like to step up and take hold of the training business and help with the accelerated growth. And yeah, I've been on that journey ever since. It's been a fantastic time. Apart from last year was a bit tough. But,
apart from last year, I think last year was the leveler, wasn't it? It was certainly can be a leveler, but as you've put it out in this paper, a bit of a catalyst for training companies to look at how you deliver, and change was thrust upon us. We actually teach change one of your the APMG change course, and Agile PM, pretty good sellers, I believe, in your area. very popular.
2 are in the top 5 sellers, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So given that background, what was the catalyst for writing this particular ebook? It's about 7 chapters, about 16 pages long. It's a good read. What was the catalyst? What you didn't wake up in the morning and say, I want to write an ebook. So
it's kind of something I've always wanted to do was write a book, and I thought maybe I could start with something that I knew some great insights. And for me, the catalyst was back in March, April time, when we were hit quite badly. You know, we shut our classrooms in March. I think it was the 3rd week of March. We shut the classrooms, and at that point, you know, we were thinking, well, what are we going to do with our training business? So the first thing you do after you kind of have a panic attack is go back to the customers, and you start talking to your customers. And we're very customer focused at PM Partners. It's you know, it's been drilled into us typically by the owners of the company. You know, customer is first, and you know, having been an entrepreneur and having run a number of businesses in the UK, you know, if you've got to put the customer first under any circumstances. And we went out and we started talking to our customers more. So we'd always had this good rapport with our major customers and had regular insights from even surveys. But this time, what we decided to do is take it one step further and really have, you know, one-on-one surveys, not go out to the masses. So we took a view that we would target our top 30 customers, and we would sit with them for an hour and really find out what the coronavirus and what the pandemic, what it meant to them, what it meant to their business. And more importantly, how are they going to carry on training their people? Because their people were now still working. They hadn't laid anybody off. They still needed training, and they still needed upskilling. Now, how are they going to do it? And what do they think they were going to do for the future?
Yes.
So we started gaining this intelligence from our clients, and really trying to work out, was there a pattern here? And then after a while, we kind of realized that the pattern really was, apart from the obvious kind of switch to virtual, it was more of what they were seeing was something different. I certainly found that even though we've been talking about small bites of learning and on-the-job training and this kind of thing, and more and more of our customers are talking about this. So then we launched a bit further and thought, okay, well, we've got 30 of our top customers telling us kind of the similar story. Let's go further afield. Now we've got a database of, you know, over 100,000 people have been trained by PM Partners, you know, since I joined 10 years ago. So we've got a fairly big database of customers that have essentially learned project management and change management through traditional face-to-face classroom training.
Yes, yes.
Let's find out from some of these guys what their thoughts were within their organisations, from what they'd learned previously and what they thought the future was. So we're gaining all these insights. By the way, at the same time, we're still trying to pivot and keep the business going, but this is quite interesting, and I really started enjoying this. And essentially that was the catalyst. The catalyst was simply our customers telling us that there was a little bit of a theme in what they were thinking about for the future. And as we're gaining all these insights, as we're pivoting to train virtually, I started thinking that there's some good stuff here. This is the future, and I started jotting down some notes, banded it around to a few people within our business, and that then we went on to do some more research, and I worked very closely with one of the previous owners of the business, and who's a mine of information, and we started putting in some research papers from global research papers. Now, bearing in mind, global research papers, they were coming out thick and fast back in April and May with all sorts of millions of surveys, and but again, all those surveys and all the things that we were looking at from the global institutions were all saying a similar thing as well. You know, we talk about the McKinsey's, and the Harvard Business Review had a great article on the future of learning as well. And we went to about, I think, 20 to 25 different studies that we brought in and read, collated that information, and that's really what how we came up with the ebook.
Yeah, look, it's great, and as you go through, and I commend everyone. Or before we go today, you can easily download it on the PM Partners. It takes no time. Just put your contact details in. It's a straight download. But you walk the reader through, and I'm just looking down at the different chapters. You talk about the first one, capability, not skills, and then a growing demand for micro training, the role of technology, gamification, employee training, and why face-to-face learning will always be relevant, and developing an L&D strategy. And if those things are of interest to you, I'd really commend you to have a look at this. Could I start the first one? The way you start something, when you said capability, not skills, not simply skills, that got my attention straight away. Nice line, and there's a big graphic on that page, and it says 80% of the workforce is now made up of deskless workers. Tell us what you came up with, capability, not skills. Obviously, we heard from your clients. So.
Yeah, I think this was a combination of different things that led us to that kind of headline. More and more, so organisations want their people to have at least T-shaped skills, and that's been quite prevalent for quite a number of years. The T-shaped skills is fantastic. You've got the breadth and you've got the depth of one subject, and then we kind of thought that was quite good. Maybe we should look at and they kind of come up with the pie-shaped skills. At least you've got two really good areas of knowledge. And nowadays, organisations need their staff because people need to have lots of skills.
Yes.
And then what people have started talking about now is star-shaped. So people now have a star-shaped skill set. Now that's developed even further, because now what our customers are saying is they don't just want people to go on a course and tick the box. They need these people to learn the theory, work out, do the practice in the classroom, but more importantly, how do they transfer that to the workplace?
Yes.
And that's the thing that all training companies talk about, is they go back to a customer. How are you going to make sure that your employees get the outcomes? How can they make sure that new capability that they've got, they now know how to do X, Y, Z, whatever it might be. How can that translate to a workplace? For an employer who's trying to get an employee to add value to what they're doing on their project, it's really important that they have the capability, not just the skill set.
Yeah,
and that's really important.
And that's covered beautifully in that very short, it's only a few paragraphs in that chapter, but it's a really interesting, it gets your mind thinking that we should be looking at capabilities and not skills. The other one,
actually both, but it's more our customers are more concerned about capabilities.
That's right. The other one that I really enjoyed, in fact, each chapter, I would urge how maybe some of our listeners could use this is, you get your team together, get them to read the chapter. It won't take long. It's 5 or 10 minutes, if that. But then use that as a discussion point at your team meeting or your community of practice. I think that would be a really interesting. That's how I looked at this. And I thought, gee, that's a really good discussion point. I know of an organisation's just starting off a community of practice, and I've already sent it to them, Mike. So we'll see if they could look at. It's a discussion point that you have. Micro training, another term that we emerged, that emerged. Your view on micro training?
So micro training has become a bit of a buzzword, and I remember having a really good conversation with the head of learning and development of a massive construction company, and she said, "God, if I hear the word micro training again, I'm going to kill somebody."
Yep.
But everyone is talking about it, and I think the emergence of being able to learn on the go with your mobile phone is huge. It's going to take the world by storm. And I think what's emerging here is, and I'll give my own analogy, is I wanted to build a kennel for my dog out of wood. And I thought, oh, how do I do this? Well, you can go on and Google it. That's fine. But actually, if you go onto YouTube, you can find 3-minute videos that show you how to do the thing from start to finish. And I was going back and building my dog kennel and then just getting hold of that YouTube video again, rewinding it. What do they say there? Oh, I've got to do this and I've got to whack that in here and build this. Now that's been out for some time. It's not new. That's been out a while. Now what we're going to do is try and think, how do we pivot that to someone that's in a corporate or an organization, working wherever they're working, and how do we get them to have a look at something really quick and really simple, ready for what they're just about to do. So for example, if you're in between meetings and you're thinking, just about to go into this meeting, I need to impress somebody, I need to know what the concepts of agile are. I need to remind me, and you can just go on your phone, and within 3 minutes, plug your earphones in, and you've got a 3-minute short, sharp burst upon what Agile's all about. Or imagine just as a project manager, you're just about to walk into a scoping workshop, and you're running it, and you're so busy, you're running around, you think, I've got that scoping workshop in 5 minutes. What am I supposed to do in a scoping workshop? Right, here we go, mobile phone out, scoping workshop, watch that for 3 minutes, and that says, well, how you set your workshop up, make sure you've got your outcomes, make sure you've got a good facilitator, make sure you've got all these prerequisites in place, and then the project manager can then go, got it, right, that reminds me, and then they can go and run their workshop with a bit more.
I had a similar thing. I had to describe what a tranche of work is in a program, and whilst I knew it, I just needed that reinforcement, and I think it's the word reinforcement, and I did exactly that. I went straight through, went to Praxis, got the glossary, found the definition, got myself on track, because you can be when you're working in multiple environments, the tailoring is great, but tailoring can add on, and sometimes you've got to take those layers off and get back to what the core definition is. And I agree with you. I think it's great that we've got that ability to reset and revive ourselves. I don't carry my textbook around with me, but it's great to have that ability to quickly, in that 15 minutes before the meeting, to say, am I on the right track here? That's got that.
For a training company, it's quite exciting.
Yes.
You imagine getting hold of a project management fundamentals course and putting that into lots of small microbytes of learning.
Yes.
And then an individual can just choose what they want to do. Out of those, there could be 30, 40, 5-minute modules. Right, I want to know about that one. It's very powerful. I mean, it's also, we use a company called EdApp, EDAPP, and that's an Australian company, and they started up around the corner from me in Manly, and they're only designed, or mainly designed, for individuals on the go. So get your micro learning on your mobile phone or on your tablet, short, sharp, easy, and it's you can watch videos through it. You can have a look at infographics through it, and it's all short, 3 to 5 minute sessions. It's fantastic.
Fantastic. So what's the relevance to the Australian market? When you sit back, and it's great to see that during that time of when things were looking pretty perilous, and I will say perilous, I think that's the correct word, in March and April. You actually went to your consumers, went to your clients, and got real data. I think that I can really commend you. So where are we now heading? What do you think you've got as the relevance to the Australian market? And also, the double question: what are you now doing to implement some of that intelligence that you gleaned from your clients and colleagues?
Yeah. So I think a number of things. We're extremely fortunate here in Australia that we. And I say this in touch wood. It feels like we are out of the pandemic. Certainly, we're now in early February. I would say the last 2 weeks we have probably been the busiest we've ever been for maybe 2 years. So people are coming back, and they're coming back thick and fast, and they're coming back into the classroom. And I think people are desperate to have human interaction again.
Yes.
People want to, we want the look and the feel, and get the body language, and work together in small groups. Still got to keep the 1.5 meters apart, but
Yeah.
You know, the energy that you get from a classroom environment can never be replaced by virtual or through microlearning, and that's absolute gold. So as far as Australia is concerned, I believe that we are going to come out the other end stronger.
Yes.
We're going to come out fast. You know, our government and our health authority is the best in the world.
Mm.
And you compare that to how they're getting on in the UK, it's a fantastic job we've done here. The other thing to think about is lots of training organisations very quickly pivoted to virtual training.
Mm.
Our customers got the benefit of that in terms of cost savings really quickly. So we could go to our customers and say, you know, there's no need now for your dispersed team to fly into one central location. With virtual, we can teach them wherever they are in the country, in fact, wherever they are in the world, and that's here to stay. It's not necessary. So some of our customers love it so much, they've had the cost savings and had the benefits of virtual, they're not going to come back to the classroom. Yes. And that's fine. One of the things that we have found is that some of the people that are out in the whoop whoop, as we call it here in Australia, haven't necessarily got the fast enough internet connection to get the virtual.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, we're also fortunate in Australia, we've got the national broadband network, you know, fibre optics to the door, and you know, that's massive benefit, very fast internet access, which helps us with, obviously, with the likes of GoToTraining and Zoom and Teams. So you know, that's the other side of it. So yeah, I think, and as far as we're concerned now, we're all desperate to get back in the classroom. In fact, last week our classrooms were full. That shows you how quick we came back. Virtual and micro learning and all these different ways of learning are not replacing, or mostly not replacing face-to-face classroom. There is no replacement for human interaction face-to-face.
Yes.
And I think these types of other services are now enhancements to the face-to-face. So the micro training, you know, come to a face-to-face and then go to then learn doing micro training. Yeah, it's all add-ons, and training organisations that have pivoted nicely to virtual have now got this in their kit bag. Yeah, and as we go through for micro learning, and for us as PM partners, this next year we've got a micro learning rollout schedule for some of our courses, and that will be going global because now we're owned by a Japanese organisation, huge. They've got 85,000 employees, so we're quite lucky because we've got 85,000 customers quite nicely. Yeah. So you know, that's the future of where we see our growth coming from. But notwithstanding that, our classrooms will get back to full capacity very quick.
Look, and that's pleasing to see, because I think it's not replacement, it's enhancement. And it's easy to say, you know, things like micro learning, just like it's easy to say digital first. What do you actually mean by that? You know, it's not, people still crave and still enjoy that. And there are certain people that are happy to just sit behind a keyboard and do e-learning. That's fine as well. But I think we've got lots of opportunities to really enhance those small stories. I love the idea of having small 2 or 3 minute bites to explain a concept. And any trainer, and I've been a trainer like yourself, and you love having those things where someone can say after the course, you know, they can go back in as a VIP customer into a secure area and pick up those little nuggets they get. But they've still got the certification behind them to say, yes, I have done that. This continues, I think, is that lifelong learning journey that you really strive for as a trainer with your clients. So
absolutely. And certifications are here to stay, you know, and you know, trying to get a certification through virtual is a lot harder than it is to have an instructor right next to you.
Very much so. And I noticed
I'm struggling with this concept. Can you help me? It's difficult to do that on through a TV screen, computer screen.
We won't go into the details. You've got a great little section, a few paragraphs on gamification, And you know, some of the things that you can start it, and badges is there. And I know we've both seen the benefits of people having their digital badge and having that verified. You know, and you've said that these serve as incremental rewards after completing a module and keep users motivated. Absolutely, they do. We've seen that from people who do a foundation, and they say, well, people say on their LinkedIn or social media, why don't you try the practitioner? What's stopping you, you know, to go on? And it is that people are liking that digital recognition. I think that's, to me, been one of the great insights that I've seen over the last 10 months as well.
Absolutely.
Now, just to, the last section you've got there is about L&D strategy. And I think that's really important. I'd like to sort of finish on how you think, well, I know that PM Partners are very actively involved in that area. Learning and development strategies. Would it be correct to say that it's not just one mode of delivery? When you're looking at your L&D strategy, don't discount that there's just one particular silver bullet or one particular solution, and strive with your clients to think of how they can use technology to enhance that, because I guarantee that their own customers will want that. Would that be a fair summary of some of the L&D strategy?
Yeah, you're spot on. I think L&D, people who make decisions in L&D are extremely talented people, and we hold them in huge high esteem. It's a very, very difficult job trying to please everybody in an organisation. In an ideal world, we really want the individual to put their hand up and say, this is a career path that I want to take, and on that basis, these are the learnings that I'd like to be able to apply back to the organisation. Mm-hmm. And I think for the future, it's L&D's. It's not just about getting that student onto a course or that employee to do another course. That's part of the journey. For an individual, it's very much about, you know, if I'm working for a big any organisation, I want to be loved. I want to be cared for, and I want to know that I'm worth something to you as an employee. As an employer, I want to know that if I'm investing in you, then you're going to give me the outcomes. What's my return on investment? And yes. I think our strategies now need to work out how to, if I send somebody on a course, how do I ensure I've got the resources to make sure they can embed that learning into the business?
Correct.
And come back to the training company and ask us, you know, how do we help with this? And come and talk to, you know, certainly lots of training organisations don't just want to do the training. Some do, some don't. For us at PM Partners, we want to make sure that they can get the outcomes from that. Yeah. And that's about coaching and mentoring and regular sessions, revision sessions, and workshops to say how you're now going to put this concept into what you're doing in your project or your team. Yes. And you're right. You know, now we've got a variety of different ways we can deliver training, not just face to face. So L&D strategies can think about how if they want to do some cost savings, for example. You know, maybe they could put 100 people through, but now with virtual, they could put 200 people through. Yes, they can save some money on transport costs, hotel costs, yes, catering costs, etc. So there's, and then just, you know, the use of technology through subscribing to something like, you know, we're talking about with EdApp, and that would be a subscription-based service. And think about how employees could benefit from a subscription micro training session.
Just to keep reinforcing or putting, you know, refreshing, just as I was wanting that definition of a tranche, you know, yep. Just have that ready for them. So that's great, yep. Mike. Well, look, I recommend anyone, it's available on the PM Partners website. It's pretty well on your banner there. I think if you just type in PM Partners ebook at the moment, this will probably get the first one. Wait till we see a few more. It is called L&D in the Remote Age. And look, I really commend you, Mike, and your company for going back out to your clients and really taking that. You know, you don't do 30 hours of interviews and then a lot of other. We're actually getting. This is something that's really been distilled well. So well done.
Thanks, Laurie. It's great talking to you.
It is. And
I've probably gone on a bit, but
that's all right. Look, this is the Midday Mentors. As we know, we bring mentors and experts from around the globe It's great to have Mike here today, and thank you very much for your time, Mike. And I will look forward to the next one as it comes through. Maybe let's not have a pandemic as a catalyst for the next one. That's all I can ask. So.
And I think a tranche is a stepped change in capability.
Correct. We can get into a long definition there, but it certainly helped me. It helped me sort of revise and refresh. So it's great. Thanks very much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.